Hey guys, I'm going to go quickly through the two formatives that you took in this chapter, first half of the chapter anyways, see if that helps you prepare for the test. Question 1, find domain and range, determine its function. Domain are the x's, so I got 2, 5, and 3, and then I would put them in order, 2, 3, 5. So far it's either this one or that one. The range are the y's. And the y's in this case are 1 and -2. That matches up with both of these here. So it's still either that one or that one. The question is it a function or not? Since all the x's are different, there's no way it can't be a function. For it to not be a function, you need to have the same x going to a different y. For instance, I could put another point here, and if I started with x is 2, if I don't put the 1 that I have right here, if I put anything other than 1, now it's not a function. But all my x's were different. They didn't have the same x's going to different y's. So this one is a function, and you should have put D. Find domain and range of the relation to determine its function. Sometimes you need to look at a picture and be able to tell. I see my picture didn't show up very well, but I know that this is actually only 1 over. Domain is my x's, so when you're thinking your x's, think of, let's pretend this is a ride at the fair, and you're going on the ride. If you're going this way on the ride, you only go as far to the right as 1, and then you go back to the left. And those arrows tell me it goes forever and ever and ever. So you go forever left, but stop at x equals 1. So the domain is going to be all x's that are less than or equal to 1. So if I look down here, I see this is a possibility and this is a possibility. And that's it. So now I've got it down to a 50-50. When you think of range, you're thinking up and down. So if I'm still on this, I'm going forever up. I'm working my way down ever so slowly, still going down, but I keep going forever down. So range is how far up and down you go. It goes forever, so it's all reals, and we should have known that because those were the only options anyways. So the question is it a function or not? And when it's a picture, what I would just encourage you to look at is a vertical line. And if a vertical line, any vertical line, hits more than 1 point, it is not a function. It's failed the vertical line test. So that should have been E. Number 3, we've got equations or functions written in function notation. So I got f of x and g of x. F of x and g of x are just a fancy way to write y. It's just saying that you got 2 different equations. I could have a third one and call it h of x. So when I see f of 7, that means use the f function and plug in 7. So I'm just plugging in the 7 and then doing the order of operations that we should have practiced in chapter 1. Order of operations tells me to the parentheses, then I got to do the square. Exponents come before multiplying. 5 squared is 25. So the first answer should have been 75. 3 times 25 is 75. The next one, it says find g of -3. So I'm plugging that into this one here. So I have 2 minus. When I plug in, please use parentheses. I'll use parentheses there. That way, when I go to simplify, and I'm less likely to mess up, I need to do -3 squared first. That's positive 9. You cannot take these 2 minus signs right here and make it a positive. That's not how it works. You have to do exponents before subtracting. So you should be getting 2 minus -9. That would have been a no-no. You get -7. So that's my second answer. Question 4, finding the slope. That's simply y minus y over x minus x. You can start with either y, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start with the 12 because it's positive. It's bigger than the -8. So I have 12 minus -8 on top. On the bottom, I have to start with the -4 because I started with the 12 on top. I get -4 minus 6. On top, I get 12 plus 8, 20. Bottom, -4 minus 6 is -10. Make sure you simplify it, and you get -2. So the slope, the answer to that one was -2. You do have to be careful for those slopes that are 0 or undefined. If it ends up with 0 on top, it's a slope of 0. It's a horizontal line. And if it's 0 on the bottom, it's undefined, and it's a vertical line. So this one, I want undefined slope. So I essentially want a vertical line. One of my points is at 7, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. I want to know where could I put this other point so that it makes a vertical line, essentially. All that would be at 7, 2. So if I connect them, I get a vertical line. So the correct answer to this one is 7. Vertical lines have undefined slope. If I told you to find this slope, you'd end up with either 1 over 0 or -1 over 0, in which case both are undefined. Never leave 1 over 0 or -1 over 0. Tell me it's undefined, or it does not exist. The equation of this line over here would be x equals 7. Because all the x's are 7. 7, 0, 7, 1, 7, 2, 7, 3, 7, 4, 7, 5. All the x's are 7. Vertical lines are x equals. Okay, then we have to do a little match. So we've got a horizontal line on this one here, A, and it's 3 up. All y's are 3. Horizontal lines are y equals. So here we have 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 3. All the y's are 3. So 4 is A. B, you've got, let's see, if y-intercept is 0, so if you want to think of y equals mx plus b form, the y-intercept is 0, so I need something in y equals mx form. And again, my marks aren't showing up here, but kind of looks like it goes up 1 and 2 right. So that would be a slope of a half. And now if I multiply the 2 over, I multiply the half over. If I multiply both sides by 2, I get 2y equals x, which is this one right here. So you might have started over here and rewrote it as y equals x over 2, or y equals 1/2 x. I have a y-intercept of 0, go up 1, 2 right. And the next one has a y-intercept of 2. Do I have anything up there with a y-intercept of 2? Not obviously, but if you got this alone right here, you can see that the y-intercept is 2, right? If you plug in x is 0, you get 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. So that would be y-intercept is 2. The x-intercept on this first one here would be 6. Because if I plug in 0 for y, that cancels all this out, and you get the x-intercept is 6. So I think that's what that next one at C looks like. X-intercept is 6, y-intercept is 2. So that's C. And then 5 should be easy. That's just going to be a vertical line. That's E. And this other one was the other one. I've got a y-intercept of 1, and I think it was up 2, 3 right. So the other one was D. Up 2, 3 right. So that one was D, and this one was E. Okay. So that was the 2.13 formative. I am going to go ahead and just continue on with the 2.4 formative. There's 4 questions. So I want to write this one in standard form. I want to be perpendicular to that. So that tells me that I'm going to look at its slope of 1/3. But I want the perpendicular to slope to that. That would be -3. So what I'm going to use this equation right here to get its slope. Identify that it's perpendicular, so I flip it over and switch the sign. And then plug it in at that point. Now it says in standard form, but because I have slope and a point, I would plug it into point slope form. In which case I'd have y minus 5, so my y1, equals -3 times the quantity, x minus 2. This is my x1. I say standard form, so I need to get x and y on the same side. So I'm going to distribute over here, get negative 3x plus 6. I'm going to add over the 3x. And I'm going to add the 5 this way. So I added the 3x over to the left, I add the 5 over to the right, and there's my standard form, 3x plus y equals 11, which is C. If the slope of a line is parallel to 3x plus 4y equals 12. Well, probably the easiest way is to find the slope. To find the slope, I get the y along, so I'm going to minus over the 3x, divide everything by 4, get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 3. So the slope is negative 3/4. And I want it to be parallel, so it has to be the same exact slope. Find the equation of line and point slope form that goes to the 2 points, then convert it to slope intercept. So we have 2 points, so what I need to do is find slope. I want to go point slope, so I need to find slope. So I'm going to go 6 minus negative 2 over negative 3 minus 1. 8 over negative 4, that's negative 2. Now there are 2 answers you could put here normally, but I made you choose one. So I put y plus 2 over here. What that is telling me is that you need to use this one, right? Because it's supposed to be y minus y over here. So if you do y minus negative 2, you get the 2 here. So then it's got to be x minus 1 here. So by putting this 2 right there, I was telling you to use the 1 and the negative 2. And the slope goes here. Okay, then to change it into slope intercept form, distribute. Take negative 2 times both, and negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, and then minus over the 2, and it actually goes away. So you should have negative 2 here, and there's nothing to add at the end, so you got to put a 0 there to show that the y-intercept is actually 0. Okay. Last one. Find the x and y-intercepts of the line. Did that a little bit earlier. That's simply you're plugging in zeros. So if I plug in 0 for x, I just solve this. I get negative 10. And that's the y-intercept. And that would be at 0, negative 10. Okay, coordinates for a y-intercept, x is 0. And then you put the y in. Then you start over. Put 0 in for y. Go across this out, and you get 10x is 20. So you get x is 2. So the x-intercept is 2, 0. Okay, so that's how you do each of the problems on the first 2 formatives for this chapter test. I hope this was helpful. Get studied up. Let me know if you have any questions.